Boom. And I'm ready for yours. All right, let's get the music queued up. Okay, this next story that I'm about to share is called The Cloaked Man in the Cemetery, posted 10 years ago. So I think it's about time for me to post this story of an incident that happened about 2 years ago. First of all, let me talk about the cemetery and the area around it. The cemetery is visually stunning, has a completely open area where you can see all the graves around and into the distance. A spooky maze-like section with nature overwhelming the gravestones, the overgrown plants everywhere, and a large church located at the far end. It's eerie, but it's also very beautiful at the same time. But before this incident, I never really cared about this graveyard all that much. I walked past it when having to go meet my friends or when I just took a shortcut to get home, and recently to get to college. The cemetery was next to some very spooky alleyways and a council estate, so you had to watch your back when you walked through this place due to the constant rumors of drug dealers or other criminals possibly roaming the area at night. Nevertheless, the cemetery didn't seem too interesting to me until my friends told me a bizarre story involving his brothers and their friends. At nighttime, the brothers and their friends used to play a game inside the cemetery at night. I don't recall my friend telling me exactly what kind of game it was, but that they were being typical teenagers, causing mischief to make the day worth it, since the district had the same excitement as watching grass grow. About 20 minutes of doing their little game, they began to notice something off. The guys felt like they were being watched. The atmosphere turned dark and bleak. Tension was amongst themselves, because they knew they weren't alone. Soon enough, one of the guys saw it. A person. This person was wearing a cloak, and he was holding something. This person was crouching under gravestones and was silently trying to move from one to the other, getting closer and closer. Well, one of them noticed it and informed the others of the situation. They turned, all of them. Before the others could spit out a single word, the cloaked man began chasing them, holding a hammer-like weapon. This guy was insanely fast, but due to the adrenaline rush and sport background of these kids, the teens were faster. I don't want to make this story any longer, so I'll finish by saying that the friends jumped over a large fence and escaped the cloaked man. The second they jumped over, a large thud was heard, and the fence was pushed forward very hard. The cloaked man had hit the fence with his large hammer and was close to cracking open the fence. Afterwards, they got home and two of them told their brother, my friend. At first, I didn't believe the story, and neither did my other friends. The friend named Sam who told me and the others of the story doesn't exactly lie a lot, and it seemed serious. I was thinking that his brothers were lying to him, but I thought, hey, screw it. I'll go see if this cloaked man is there, and you guys are coming with me. A day after presenting my friends with a little adventure idea, I began planning we should meet and how we are going to do this quest. Suddenly, my friend David texts me. He already went looking for the cloaked man the night before with his friends. His encounter with this cloaked man was a little less frantic than the other confrontation I heard about, but this time, a lot more outlandish. David went with two other people. When they went deep into the cemetery, one of the guys immediately shouted, "Hey, no face!" Dave tried to tell him to shut up, but he wouldn't stop shouting it. The group carried on through the pathway, surrounded by dead people, until they reached a large shed past the gravestones. David and the others hid behind a bush because they suddenly saw him. The cloaked man was inside the shed. He was examining his weapons, apparently a large hammer, a rusty-looking wrench, and a decaying, nasty-looking machete. Eventually, he stopped and went out of his shed and into the church that was next to it. Unexpectedly, the church bell is heard, loudly. The guys watching don't know what the hell is going on, but the bell is ringing for a good minute. The bell is, strangely enough, ringing in a weird pattern. David tells the others to go back to another spot. They hide behind a bench this time, being furthest away from the strange church. Then the cloaked man comes out, looking concerned and ready to attack. He has an axe and is out and ready. Panic rushes through everyone behind the bench, making everyone involved quickly agree to get the hell out of there. They try to sneak out, but David keeps his eyes on the Cloaked Man. What the Cloaked Man does will give my friends various amounts of what the hell thoughts forever. Cloaked Man stops dead in his tracks and then falls to the ground. What's he doing? He's crawling around the gravestones rapidly, going from one to another. However, he's not just doing that, he's making noises. The sound of the Cloaked Man spewing and growling, like when those sounds began, the night all of a sudden became even more frightening and frigid. Then abruptly, he gets up and smashes one of the gravestones with his axe out of nowhere, without any reason, and lets out a haunting scream up into the air. Again, without any reason, David says, "Screw hiding," and they all run out. Cloaked Man doesn't even chase them, but looks into the distance. When he finishes his story of discovering more about the Cloaked Man, I thought there would be no point in going there now. We all know that this Cloaked Man is a freaking weirdo that preys on teens and poor other people that are visiting gravestones. What else is there to find out? Well, I'm big on adventure, so I thought that me, David, Sam, and many others should go and explore a little more, just to see what else this guy does. So a few days later, we have our team, me, Sam, David, Charlie, and Mike. Charlie is a fat slob, and Mike is a witty man of the group. So we all meet up at the local gas station at daytime. Yeah, we were going to go at nighttime at first, but everyone wussed out. So we went during the middle of the day. We slowly walked through the empty alleyways and the council houses until we got to the gates, which were locked. We jumped over and began our adventure. Sadly, Charlie and Mike just weren't having it and climbed back out. They weren't going anywhere, though. They were going to be waiting for us. We wanted them to come with us, but after a minute, we left them and walked through the large pathway, the gravestones around us. About 20 minutes went by, nothing at all was happening. Instead of going straight to the shed, we decided to take another route. All of us went through the maze-like section where the gravestones were just covered with plant vines that had overgrown. We began walking around and we began arguing amongst each other. Sam was bored and wanted out. Dave didn't care that much and wanted to go back out into the open and find the shed and church. 5 minutes of pointless arguing later, and suddenly we hear footsteps. We look around. Nothing. "Get out your phone," Sam says to me. "All right, wait a second," I reply. So my phone is out, I unlock it and go to camera. I'm pointing at the remoteness with my iPhone, but nothing is lurking in the distance. At least not in our vision. We knew someone was near us, so we began frantically walking through this maze. Sam wants me to begin recording, so I do just that. Since nothing has happened again, the recording just becomes dragged out video of us walking around like idiots, looking in every direction suddenly. I switch the damn phone off, and we go deeper into the cemetery. It gets darker and darker, and the vines and everything growing over gets tighter and tighter. Then I see it. The Cloaked Man is following us. I finally saw the bastard. It was when I looked behind us, he was hiding behind a huge angel statue. He was crazy close to us. "Guys, I see him behind us. Let's get the hell out of here," I'm shouting. "You sure?" David says. David, being the confident and curious of the group, walks back and tries to catch the guy. I didn't want to see this crazy guy pop out, but I wasn't leaving my friends, so we all went back to the statue. He was gone. Sam got overly paranoid and wanted us to get out. He had a crawly feeling that the Cloaked Man was staring at us, but we continued on, being idiots, and that's when I spotted him again on the other side. He was a little bit further away from us, so I wasn't as scared, but I could see him trying to get closer, blending in horribly with the trees surrounding him. I started freaking out. David and Sam noticed something moving, so we ran about 30 feet away and tried to hide. The Cloaked Man was now going in the other direction and entered the church, which was noticeable where we hid. Then we heard those bells. David confirmed that those bells were the same ones that he had heard the other night when he went. Then the Cloaked Man came out with a freaking huge axe. Without any hesitation, he charged at our direction. Let me just clarify the locations by saying that we were still in the maze-like area, the cemetery, but we could still see the open area in the distance, where the gravestones and church were located. So he was far away, but charging in our direction. He knew where we were, even though we were hiding and nowhere near him. He still knew our location. He didn't change direction or anything. He sprinted in one line with an axe in both hands. When I realized he was getting closer and closer, I yelled, "Run!" And we legged it. We ran and looked back. He was right there, ready to swing at us. We didn't want to split up, so we ran around the maze until we found a pathway with large hedges on the side. No going back. We all ran and ran through the path. But after running down the path, I was beginning to have a heart attack. I could hardly breathe. When I looked in front, I felt so much fear. I was already losing hope. It was a dead end. Me and my friends were greeted by a locked shed at the end of the path. No way to get in. No way to climb on top of the shed. We had the feeling of dread taking over our bodies. We waited a few minutes, and the Cloaked Man didn't come. We silently went the other direction and stumbled back to the overgrown plant gravestone maze. We looked everywhere, finding broken tombstones and ripped up branches everywhere. There was silence for about 10 minutes. When we looked in every direction again, hoping the Cloaked Man was gone, all of us were sneaking around until we got out of the maze, and the feeling that was inside of us because of being in that horrible area disappeared. Mundane gray clouds that suddenly appeared. It was sunny day at first, but gradually got worse because of England's bipolar weather. It made the cemetery look more disturbing and bleak than it already was. As we walk on, we hear a thunderstorm, and it looks like it's going to rain. We try to jog out there when we look and see something sticking out. Holy shit, the Cloaked Man is in the distance, with his hood off, standing on top of a gravestone. His face was visible, but not exactly. He was wearing a cliché Halloween mask for some reason. We stare at him for about 20 seconds before he goes down and begins crawling in our direction. Screw that. We ran and ran until we jumped over the fence. Huh? Charlie and Mike weren't there. The bastards got bored and left. But you can't blame them. After that, we were all freaked out and decided to never go to the cemetery ever again. I did go there years later, though, to film some stuff for a college assignment. We went home, and that was it. The next day, though, I walked through a street with the cemetery on the left side, the other side of the cemetery where the alley council buildings were, and saw a red tape and police inside the graveyard. Next to the church, I wish I had asked the police officer what was going on, but I was too freaked out to go back there, even with the police everywhere. I never did find out what happened there, and now that I think about it, I don't think I want to know. But there were rumors that the guy that was stalking and chasing us was just the caretaker wearing a mask, trying to scare people who went to the cemetery just to mess around. So the police investigation probably has nothing to do with the Cloaked Man.
You know what that reminded me of? The legend of Spooky Hollow, or Sleepy Hollow, sorry.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's in the thing, and he's, chasing people off, or presumably killing them if they're still there.
Yeah.
With regards to what happened with the police investigation the next day. Freaking creepy. The crawling around part.
Growling and making noise. It's kind of connected to the crawling thing, which I thought was kind of weird, but...
Yeah, I know. Like, we have that happen a lot, right? We randomly tell stories that are weirdly connected.
Yeah. The Cloaked Man, though, Luke.
You know what? The one explanation of the groundskeeper chasing people off, that's a legitimate explanation.
Yeah.
He could just be some sort of vengeful spirit that was killed there, though, just as easily.
Sounds like a lot of energy spent trying to scare people.
It does sound like more than any normal human being would do. Obviously, this would be a crazy person trying to scare people off.
For sure.
Like, it's why it really feels like the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Like, this is like some sort of creature, some sort of thing that is there that had died in the area and can't leave the area. And just, chases at anyone there at the night.
I guess the groundskeeper would make sense, though, because he was, in and out of that shed pulling out weapons.
Yeah.
Kind of weird, though, that he would have such a... I guess they said a wrench and stuff like that, but different weapons,
Yeah. Very reasonable to suspect that the groundskeeper would do that, or could do that, but strange that he would. It just seems like this is a crazy person doing this. So, best case scenario, it's a crazy person. Worst case scenario, it's some sort of revenant.
I don't know which one's worse. it's funny because you like have your friends tell you, like different people have told them these things happen to them, right? And you do get to the point where you're like, screw it, I'm going to go check it out.
Right.
Then it happens to you too. That's actually pretty crazy.
That's one of those stories that should be told all the time, every Halloween. That's a great, great scary story. That's one of those stories that makes you excited about monsters and ghosts. Crazy people wielding an axe and crawling around on the ground, smashing up stuff.
What did you think about the huge axe comment?
I can picture it in my head, right? I've seen some.
You're picturing like Gears of War style running.
Yeah, like some, because like they describe this guy as like crawling towards them and stuff like that.
He's doing weird stuff. Yeah, smashing gravestones, stepping on gravestones.
See, now that doesn't seem like a gravekeeper, right?
What I thought, yeah.
A gravekeeper wouldn't smash a gravestone. So that's why it seems more like some sort of like revenant or some sort of evil spirit.
What about being there day and night?
Interesting. They said it was there day and night. Yeah, that's just crazy.
It went back during the day.
Yeah.
His actual occurrence there was during the day.
Yeah, that's crazy. That also doesn't seem like it's the gravekeeper, right? Because they would be in shifts. It wouldn't be one gravekeeper for 24 hours a day. It seems like there's definitely something going on there. And that was a great one. I loved every bit of that.
Well, it was a long reading, but I stuck to it.
It was good. I'm leaning towards something like a Sleepy Hollow style revenant, like the Headless Horseman. Like the whole time I was like, that's what this sounds like. The way he's acting, is crazy, but he's pursuing anyone who steps foot on the area that he's decided that he's going to kill people in.
One of the friends at one point was like, screw this, started running towards him, the Cloaked Man. You think you'd have the courage to do that?
No, I would just run out.
Because even if this guy's got an axe, he's got a whatever. Didn't he said a machete? That's what was sitting in there, a machete.
If you see anyone in a cloak, hiding their face in the middle of a cemetery, you never run towards them, even if they're not even armed.
This happened overseas, as we found out towards the end of the story. What do you think they mean by cloak?
I would think like a poncho, like a rain poncho.
Yeah.
I guess. So that's what I pictured the whole time, but also might be just thinking of, I Know What You Did Last Summer, kind of killer guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, graveyard, yeah.
Has that rain poncho over his head.
Yeah. You were picturing Harry Potter, though?
No, I was definitely picturing that, a rain poncho look. That was probably a spirit, a very dangerous spirit at that.
Whoa, what was that?
Apparently a dangerous spirit attacked my camera just now.
Holy crap, yeah. Cloaked Man. Disturbing. Let us know if you're listening live, you think this was a person or a spirit. Few people, they are saying to the normal chat that connects Twitch and all of them together and see what they're saying. Harry Potter, when he's had enough BS, I'm going to go with a person, somebody said. When you hear about a groundskeeper, though, like traditionally old style fashion would be you live there on the grounds,
That's
in
a
the
good
house. So, that would be possible. But you would definitely have to be crazy. And destroying the headstone was kind of like, my part was like, would he vandalize the area he was the groundskeeper of,
Yeah, that's probably a different situation there. So they might actually have like a house and someone living there 24/7. If so, why would he break up the tombstones? That's like a crazy. But he's crazy enough to swing an axe at somebody or scare you off and wear a Halloween mask. So who knows? Maybe he's crazy enough to smash a tombstone or two.
It was just a random person in the cemetery. Who knows? What a great story. The Cloaked Man in the Cemetery. This will go down as a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
Jeff Townsend Media. CG, good night.
And the question is, do I stay here? Will you be back? Are you gonna come back? Will you be back? Are you coming back?